In this video, I will go over the questions that you'll need to ask yourself so that you know what information you should look for in each section of your chosen article. So first, to make sure you write down your name, the article's title, and the publication date. We can usually find the publication date on the top of the article. So above the title, look for a publication date. If you don't find the author's names, that's okay. Try to find the journal name. It will also be at the very top of the screen, the very top of your article. You might also have a URL. You can copy paste those into the proper sections marked here. Now, in the introduction or the background section of the article, read and keep these questions in mind. So first, the researchers will tell you what they already knew. So the researchers will tell you what they knew from their own past research or what they knew from reading about other experts. So what did they already know about their research question? It might take you 1 or 2 sentences to write it down here. Remember, not full sentences, but communicate what they knew already. This is the reason that they are doing this current study, because they want to expand on what they already know. They want to push their knowledge a little bit further. Also, write down important definitions. So for your article, what are the important definitions that the researchers will use? They will write that in the introduction. You need to write that down in this space. Also write down any abbreviations or acronyms. So what are the common short forms that they used throughout the article? Write those down. For example, in the autism article, they used ASD, and they told us that was autism spectrum disorder. They also wrote down VDD, which was vitamin D deficiency, because they knew that children with autism were often VDD. So those are 2 words that they provided for us, the acronyms and their meanings. They had more as well. They had D3 group, which was the vitamin D group, and they also had the PL group, the placebo group. So you could write those down as well. So again, any of the important abbreviations and acronyms that you're going to use on your Cornell notes in your template, put them at the top here in the introduction section. Also in the introduction, the authors will tell you what their objective was. So why did they do the study that you're reading? They had a reason. Find the purpose. They will tell you clearly what they were trying to discover or what they were trying to learn. Write that down. Don't just write down the topic, write down what they were trying to learn. In the autism article, they were trying to learn if there was a link between vitamin D3 and stereotypical behaviors of autistic children. Another way to say it, the researchers were trying to find out if vitamin D3 supplements would help autistic children's behavior. Okay? That's the kind of detail that you have to provide on your notes, not just the topic. Next, the research method section. This will be a big section in your article. So let's break this section down. First, the researchers will tell you where the research took place. They might name a city and a country. They will tell you if it was in a hospital, if the patients lived in the hospital, which is inpatient, or if it was an outpatient clinic, which means the patients did not live in the hospital. They might tell you it was a community program. Where did the research take place? Provide those details. And how long was the study? That's important because it might be a 20-week study. Another researcher in the same field might do a 1-year study. So it's important to write down how long the study was, the one that you read. Who were the subjects? They will tell you who the subjects were. That means who were the participants. Were they animals? Which kind? Were they humans? Were they adults? Were they children? Were they female? Were they male? Did it say? Provide those details. Also, they might tell you early in the research method how many subjects. You can write that down here too. Next, the big section. What was the study design? They will name it. Look for that name. They will say it was a controlled random trial, which means an experiment. Or they will say it was some kind of observational study where they just observed the patients. They will use words like a case study for a single patient, cohort study for a group of patients. They might use the word longitudinal. You hear the word long? It might be a long term where they observed patients over the long term. So find the name of that study design. If it was an experiment, if they used words like random control trial, that means they put the subjects into at least 2 groups. They have a test group that received some kind of treatment and a control group that did not. And then they will compare the test group to the control group. Look for those words. They might call it a treatment group, and they will compare the treatment group to a placebo group. Remember, placebo means there is no medicine in the pill. Next, look for the name of the tests and the measurements. They will have a specific name. Look for those names and make a list. Provide the name, capitalize that name, and then provide a short description for each test that they used. In the results section, you must find what the primary results were. What does that mean? It means what the major results were. Okay, so you're going to have to look for that. It might be on tables, but it will also be written in a sentence. So for each main result, that will be linked to their objective. For each main result, write down a sentence that describes the result. They will give a score. Write down that score in brackets, like this, in red. These are brackets. Write down the unit. Next, read further. The researchers might say that a result or some results surprised them, or they might not say that. Look for that. Were there any results that surprised the researchers? Not you, but the researchers. So if the researchers found any surprises, write that down here. Next, the discussion section. In the discussion section, look for why the researchers said that their results are important. Or read between the lines. What are the researchers saying is the main result, and how did that link to the goal? Or how does that help the medical field? Write that down. The researchers might also tell you the strong points of their study. So what was good about their study? Look for the subheading, or look for a paragraph that begins talking about the strong points. So in what ways was their study a success, or in what ways was it different or unique? Look for that information and write it down. The researchers might also discuss the weak points or the limits of their study. Look for those words. Look for the words limits or some weaknesses in their study. Why do the researchers include this? Because they will want to improve in a future study. So look for that and then write it down if you can find that. In the discussion section, not every article mentions their weak points and strong points, but at least you should look for it. Finally, in the conclusion section, what did the authors learn overall? Write 1 or 2 sentences in short form. Remember, no complete sentences, but communicate on your notes the full idea of what the authors learned overall. Also, every journal article will end with a suggestion for future study. Look for that suggestion. So, what are the researchers proposing for a future study? They do this because they would like to do that future study. So look for that suggestion. You'll find it. You just have to look for it. Okay, I hope that helps. Good luck with your journal article.